Olympic Games. And it leads to this, the third stop on the Victory Tour, the Fans Tribute Tour. And for the second time in 4 days, it's the United States being greeted like rock stars, as they are wherever they go nowadays, Jules.
The screeching is at a high pitch. It's so fun to see with this team, and in the contrast of 4 years ago when it wasn't nearly as loud.
Australia beaten 2-1 just 4 days ago at the Home Depot Center in LA. In terms of the team news, well, the key players, the familiar names, Abby Wambach and Alex Morgan up front, Hope Solo in goal. 2 changes overall, though, for Pia Sundhage from that team in LA.
And, of course, we're looking at Alex Morgan. What a year she's had. 22 goals in 23 games. Youngest player to ever score 20 goals in 1 year. She has been just phenomenal for the United States. And for Australia, they're going to line up in the same 4-3-3 formation. 3 changes to their lineup. But play close attention to Sarah Walsh, number 9 up top. She's playing in her final international game. She's announced her retirement. Second leading scorer with 37 goals for Australia.
But of course, it's not just a celebration, it's also a farewell for Pia Sundhage. Nearly 5 years in charge, and what a record she leaves behind. 90 victories since she took over in January 2008, just 6 defeats. And what about the titles along the way? Those 2 Olympic golds in Beijing and again in London. The near miss in Germany in the 2011 World Cup, and 3 Algarve Cups along the way. And it poses the bigger question, Julie, what's her legacy that she leaves behind?
Well, I think her legacy is obviously her success, but on top of that, she brought laughter. She's dancing on the sidelines. She's celebrating. There's joy. And so I think that mentality brought a calmness to the team in moments of adversity when they go behind. I mean, we've seen the last 2 years how many times this team's been able to pull out wins when people think they shouldn't. And that has been so endearing and fun to watch. And I think that's Pia Sundhage.
Pia Sundhage just a few minutes ago spoke to the 3rd member of our broadcast crew. That's Monica Gonzalez.
Pia, this is it. 90 minutes to go. What's going through your mind and what's going through your heart?
Mind 2 times 45 minutes. Australia will play 4-3-3, I guess, and the way we're going to play against them. But it's very emotional. This will be my last time with the guys, and it is mixed feelings. At the same time, I'm pretty good at being present, so I'm looking forward to 2 times 45 minutes and have another good game.
When you look back 5 years ago, you took this team. It was between generations. They were struggling to find an identity. What would you say were the breakthroughs that allowed this team to get to where they are now?
I think we brought out the best performance in each other. We, you know, you create that environment and blend the new generation with the old one, and we played well at times. And with my positive glasses, my glasses half full, I brought up the good things that happened, and we just continue to do that over and over again.
Thank you for your time, Pia.
Well, whoever follows Pia Sundhage will have the 2015 World Cup in Canada on the horizon, Jules.
Yeah, 3 years for the new coach, and this is the phase where they need to start looking at younger players as well, because with the recent news that a lot of the senior players on the national team are retiring, look at their ages at the summer of 2015. So getting the right balance of experience and younger kids is going to be critical for that new coach.
This is Pia Sundhage's swan song. She will be some act to follow, not just for her results, but for the personality she brought to the role. Third stop on the Fans Tribute Tour for the United States women's team. It's Australia who are the opponents again, and we start with the national anthems.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and kindly remove your hat for the playing.
Wonderfully sung by Ryan Baumann. The last time Pia Sundhage will hear it as the US women's national team coach. Can she go out on a high? We'll be right back. Yes, the Wambach and Morgan show rolls on to Denver tonight Third stop on the United States Victory Tour. Australia again, the opponents. They're managed by a canny Scotsman, Tom Sermanni, 58 years old, at the helm since December of 2004. Many people think he's in the frame to perhaps replace Pia Sundhage, who's coaching for the last time. Game number 107 for her will be her last. She took over in November of 2007, coached her first game a couple of months later. What a contrast the two goalkeepers provide tonight. One of the most recognizable figures in all of sport now, Hope Solo, winning cap number 127. And winning cap number 3, her opposite number tonight, Brianna Davey, who's perhaps fourth choice when it comes to Australian goalkeepers. But we're underway. Adrian Healy and Julie Foudy here at Dick's Sporting Goods Park. And for the second time in 4 days, Australia will be looking to test the mettle of this United States team. They did so, very much so, Jules, at the Home Depot Centre on Sunday. A 2-1 victory, narrow victory for the US, and Australia really perhaps had the best of things for the first 45 minutes.
Yeah, and especially that first 25. Hit the post twice, got him behind the United States, so they're going to want, the US is going to want a much faster start to this game. It's
Carly Lloyd and Lauren Cheney, who are the midfield duo centrally tonight for the US. No Shannon Box again. She came off the bench to score the winner from the penalty spot on Sunday. Amy Lepelbet's in your picture, continuing at right back. She played at the entire World Cup in 2011 as a left back. Just the third visit ever by the United States women's national team to the state of Colorado. I was quite surprised to read that, Julie. They beat Brazil here by a goal to nil in July of 2008, and in September of 1999, a different sort of victory tour, a 6-0 win against Brazil at Mile High Stadium. I'm sure you remember that. I
could barely breathe. That's how I remember that. Denver's a great soccer area. So much enthusiasm with the fans here every time we have come to play.
Here's Christy Rampone. Back to Hope Solo. Australia have never beaten the United States. The US leading the all-time series with 20 victories, just 2 ties or draws along the way. One of the changes in the starting lineup tonight, Heather O'Reilly.
And with the way Australia lines up with their 4-3-3, they pinch in that midfield. So there is going to be a ton of space on the flanks tonight.
Now Alex Morgan unleashed for the first time. Trying to cut it back behind the backtracking defenders. While we have a moment, let's take a look at our Gatorade Primed to Perform. Fueled by Gatorade. Who is primed tonight, Julie?
Well, none other than the one we've been talking about a lot because of this. 22 goals, Alex Morgan. 13 assists, both lead the team this year in 23 games. Youngest player ever to score 20 goals in a year for the U.S. team. I mean, she has just had such a breakout year. And I give Pia tremendous credit because there were so many people clamoring last year for her to start. And she kept holding off, bringing her in as a sub, even at the World Cup, and said she needs a little bit more time. And how many times in different soccer players' careers have we seen coaches push players too early?
Remember that clamoring well, Julie. It was almost deafening, in fact, the calls for Alex Morgan to start. First chance for Australia to stretch their attacking muscles, and here's their main weapon, perhaps, Lisa Davana. She's so speedy and such a menace. She showed in LA on Sunday. A terrific goal she scored. US haven't got this clear. It's Tegan Allen across to Sarah Walsh. Big night for Sarah Walsh, equally like Pia Sundhage. It is the end of a particular chapter of her career. Sarah Walsh hanging up her boots tonight. Will be a last appearance for the Matildas. She's on the ball now, wearing number 9. 37 goals for her in 75 appearances.
I talked to Australian coach Tom Sermanni about Sarah Walsh yesterday, and he said it's amazing she's actually even able to play because her knees are so bad that she can't even pass the ball by opening up her hips. She has to actually drive the ball to pass it. But she's hung on and trained and gotten fit again and kept coming back year in and year out. But this is going to be it for her. She said she wants to walk when she's 35. Her knees are just giving out on her.
As Tom put it, she spent more time in the gym than on the field in the last 4 years. A tremendous example to all the other Australian players. Patrick Bueller finding Kelly O'Hara. And Christy Rampone. Interesting talking to her yesterday as well, and possibly she might continue through the next World Cup cycle. Here's Tobin Heath. O'Hara trying to weight that cross to perfection, and didn't do a bad job with it, Kelly O'Hara. Abby Morgan couldn't quite get on the end of it.
And a good early sign for the United States, because this is what they're going to be looking for all night, is the switch to the opposite flank. And this is Kelly O'Hara, an outside back, getting into that space, which, as I mentioned earlier, is going to be wide open all evening with that 4-3-3 the Australians play. Critical for both Kelly O'Hara and Amy Lepelva to step into those spaces offensively.
Sold out here, just outside Denver. Third stop on this fans tribute tour. The 8-0 victory against Costa Rica in Rochester opened up the tour. Oh, it's a problem for Brianna Davey. She didn't get a touch on it. It's fallen for Tobin Heath. Heath working on Caitlin Ford. Help provided by O'Hara. She gives it away.
How's that for a ball across your box for Davey, the 17-year-old, unknowing her third cap? Deal with that one. Right in front of your goal mouth.
Australian coach Tom Sermanni will have 3 first-choice goalkeepers. The 3 that went to the last World Cup, all unavailable for different reasons. Ecstatic reaction wherever this team has travelled around the country. It continues here. So does the Australian menace with Tegan Allen dishing it off for Sarah Walsh. Colette McCallum, who's described as an exquisite passer, and her coach Stephanie Catley on to Davana. She gets it back, the young fullback. Well, they won't back down to anyone, Australia. Reputations, Tom Sermanni talked about this, mean absolutely nothing to some of these young players.
The beauty of youth, right? Ignorance is bliss.
At least throw, finding Kaya Simon. She's inserted into the starting lineup tonight. Got a chance to push forward here for Tobin Heath. Morgan, anticipating a run from Abby Wambach that didn't materialise.
This will be a wonderful matchup on the left side of the field for the United States. Alex Morgan is taking on another young star in the game, globally, Caitlin Ford, 17-year-old, the right back for Australia. Voted best young player of the tournament, actually, last year at the Women's World Cup. Tons of promise in her as well.
Yeah, the 2 young fullbacks from Australia, Catley, who wears 19, Caitlin Ford, who wears 7, very much the jewels in the young crown for the Matildas. Christy Rampone outside to Heather O'Reilly. It's the 25th game of the calendar year in 2012 for the United States. Of the previous 24, they've won 22 of them. One draw and one defeat. Only defeat coming against Japan. Good move here down the right-hand side. It's cleared by Caitlin Foord, only as far as Tobin Heath. Cheney tried to help it on. Eventually the attack breaks down.
What a nice run by Christy Rampone, center back for the United States. You don't see those two center backs for the U.S. Bueller and Rampone typically are the starting center backs getting forward much. I would love to see that more often, especially Christy Rampone, who started her career, was discovered at Monmouth College as a star forward.
Christy Rampone actually made her national team debut against Australia. And played down in Melbourne back in 1997. Here's Abby Wambach on the prowl. But there was an offside flag up against Wambach. 5 goals in 5 straight games at the Olympic Games. First player ever to do that. Caitlin Foord.
And already just 10 minutes in, a much better start for the U.S. than Sunday against Australia, where they were on their heels a little bit.
Caitlin Foord there reminds me her second game ever for the Australians at last summer's World Cup was against Brazil, where she had to face Marta one-on-one. How about that for an assignment as a 16-year-old?
But the beauty is, at that age, she probably didn't even know who Marta was, right?
Here's Devanna. This time Catley was offside. Sarah Walsh and Stephanie Catley, who actually works part-time in a soccer store selling cleats. That's the reality for some of these players who play in the W League, the Australian semi-professional league. She plays in Melbourne for the Victory.
And it's the reality for a lot of the players globally. That's where the U.S. sets itself apart, as they are all full professionally players. They don't have a second job. This is what they do.
Wambach. Raking wide past to Tobin Heath, who has the inside track. It's a lovely shimmying move from Tobin Heath. She was denied the chance to shoot by the efforts of Colette McCallum, who's down hurt following that challenge. But Australia are pressing on here. They've got a counter-attack chance. Good recovery work. Tobin Heath seeing a lot of the ball in the early stages of this one. Perhaps trying to force the issue there a little with the Wambach in her sights. They've won it back now, and Wambach is found this time, but she can't find the back of the net. Alex Morgan picked her out beautifully.
And I think that's one of the more underrated parts of Alex Morgan's game. She's not only a finisher, she's become a wonderful provider and playmaker. 13 assists on the year to lead the team. And look at this ball that she just threads in to Abby Wambach, who lets it come across her body instead of taking it with her favored left foot. But that's where she has become excellent as well.
Alex Morgan, alongside those 22 goals in this calendar year, has 13 assists. She leads the team in that department too.
And you knew when you were watching Alex Morgan from a young age that she always had the gift. She had the speed. She could finish. But you always wondered, how long it would take to refine it. And I'm surprised at how quickly she's gotten there. Because when she's around goals, she has an incredibly soft touch. And we've seen she can score big goals in huge moments. And as anyone knows who follows the game, those are the type of players you want on the field at all times.
Servette Uzenla standing over this for Australia. First real piece of work for Hope Solo. She was under some duress as well as that free kick floated in towards her. McCallum for Australia. United States games have been relatively few and far between for Australia this year. They played an Olympic send-off game in Japan where they lost 3-0. Solo in your picture is closing in on Brianna Scurry's shutout record for United States goalkeepers. Just 6 behind her. 10 shutouts as well for Hope Solo in this calendar year. Devanna. Taken down by Carly Lloyd. Quarter of an hour gone in Denver. Lisa Devanna, described as a pressure cooker by her coach Tom Sermanni. You never quite know what to expect from her, when she's going to let off steam and how she's going to do it, both on and off the pitch.
She's mercurial.
Click-on header, almost proved to be profitable. Kaya Simon couldn't get onto it, but now Alex Morgan can. And she only has one defender to beat, Uzunla. Can she stay with Morgan? Well, she got the challenge in. Morgan twisting one way than the other, but couldn't shed Sylvette Uzunla.
And for Australia, that's the last thing you want to see, is one player back and a counterattack with Alex Morgan going at you. And give credit to Uzunlar, how well she did to stay on her feet, keep her in front of her, slow her down.
US still on the front foot here, though, trying to make things happen. But again, it didn't quite break for Morgan at the near post. Uzunla, who's spent some time in the US playing in the W League with Pali Blues. So the United States' only defeat this year to Japan, that came in the Algarve Cup in March. And their only draw also against Japan, that was a month later in April. The Kirin Club played in Japan as Alex Morgan almost pounced on the weak clearance. And tough tackling from Lloyd and Cheney, winning the ball back for the US. Two meetings with Japan, just the prelude to the one that really mattered, the Olympic final at Wembley Stadium. And the gold medal that resulted is what we're now here celebrating. The Aussies, well, they love a party, they love spoiling a party too. Love nothing better, in fact. O'Reilly choosing the outside route, and waiting for her was Danielle Brogan, another inexperienced defender tonight for Australia, just her 4th cap. Didn't play in the first game on Sunday. It reaches Alex Morgan, goes to work on the turn.
And the US doing a much better job tonight of putting early pressure on the ball, because if they can make sure the outside backs for Australia are not getting any attacking options going forward, they're winning the ball in their own half, and then they're just shoving it right back down.
Well, Alex Morgan admitted yesterday, Julie, she's having a tough time dealing with Pia leaving. Says he hasn't been able to talk to her about it, hasn't really even been able to acknowledge that it's actually happening.
Yeah. I think it's an emotional time for Pia as well. I asked her yesterday, you know, how does it feel with this being the end of it? And she said, you know, I don't know how to thank them. That's been the hardest thing for me, is how to get that across into words, because I feel they've given me so much over 5 years.
As you see, she's going to be taking over a Swedish national team job, but officially on December the 1st. Sweden, one of the bright lights in European women's football. They'll be hosting the 2013 Euros this next summer. In many ways, a dream job for her to go back to. And it is actually, incidentally, the first time the US women's national team coach has left the job to go and coach another country.
And that just seems perfectly fitting, doesn't it? After the various jobs she's had, coaching professionally, coaching the U.S., as you said, Adrian, to go back to her home. And it's an excellent team.
And Sweden, the side that knocked Australia out of the last World Cup, reached the semi-final where they fell to Japan. It's Tobin Heath who's taken a fall here.
High tackle, actually.
There's Tegan Allen.
Coming in with that second leg, getting her.
Tobin Heath, another younger United States player, has really flourished under Pia Sundhage. Here's Morgan to Wambach. Might break here for Heather O'Reilly. It does. Drives it back across the face of goal. All it needed was a touch, but it wasn't forthcoming.
And you're seeing in the first 20 minutes of this game the presence of the flanks for the United States. Heather O'Reilly on this side, Tobin Heath on the other, who's had a few chances, getting themselves involved, getting forward.
At the other end, no problems for the United States defense.
And that attacking presence is going to pay off. And as you mentioned earlier, Adrian, Tobin Heath being one of the players Pia brought in, she looked at 17 players during her 5-year tenure. 17 new players that she gave their first international cap. And the three that stand out in my mind, Alex Morgan, Tobin Heath, and Rachel Buehler are the ones that she really developed over her 5 years.
Abby Wambach in your picture, of course, was already very much a factor after her starring role at the 2004 Olympics. Sundhage took over a squad at the end of 2007 who was somewhat in disarray, Julie. I think it's fair to say that. Post-World Cup in China. Because you termed it a team that was lacking a real identity.
And they just didn't seem to be enjoying the game. I think that's what she's brought back, is laughter and fun. And she sings to them in the locker room. We've all heard the stories.
Alex Morgan with the shots. And we've all heard the songs as well from Pia Sundhage. You can forget feeling groovy during the German World Cup. I don't think I can.
And you know, that's not something new to her that came about as a coach. She used to do that when we played against her. We would chant for her to go up on stage at banquets, you know, back in the 80s and 90s playing against Sweden. And of course, she would get up there and perform.
If you didn't know about Pia Sundhage's musical talents, the United States presenting her with a guitar in LA. This is Lisa De Vanna trying to present a problem and has done. Well, Sarah Walsh was looking for the subtle touch at the near post. De Vanna in a flash was in the clear.
And De Vanna can be quiet, and then all of a sudden, as great players do, she bursts through. And what a nice ball and run as well by Sarah Walsh to see. I'm going to get to that near post. What a good look for Australia. And on the field tonight are probably two of the fastest players in the world. And Lisa De Vanna, number 11 for Australia, and Alex Morgan for the United States.
Would be really interesting, wouldn't it, Julie, to see a race between the two of them. Here's Alex Morgan showing her speed. One back in the middle for her. It's cut behind. It's O'Reilly who's arriving. Heather O'Reilly! And it deflects in! The United States have the lead
All smiles for Heather O'Reilly. I think it's going to go down as an own goal. Servette Uzenla was the unfortunate player for Australia. And look at the celebration. Out come the air guitars.
And you knew that outside flank play for the United States was going to pay off sooner or later. Both of them getting in. Alex Morgan getting in behind the defense, knows just to play it across. And Heather O'Reilly with the finish, drives it low, and if you keep it low, you can get a deflection, you can just get it on frame, you never know what's going to happen in a crowded box. But well done by Alex Morgan to pull it back and hope there was a second tier running on.
Yeah, wrong-footed everyone, didn't it? That cut back from Morgan. Uzenla and Brogan rooted to the spot. We'll wait for official confirmation. The feeling is it will go down as an own goal. It almost has to, doesn't it? Servette Uzenla sending it beyond Brianna Davey. I'm sure Heather O'Reilly would like to claim it, Jules, but I'm sure that's going to happen. One back. Just a little off kilter with that layoff. Well, the US came from a goal down on Sunday at the Home Depot Center in Los Angeles. Now it's Australia who are facing the first half deficit. Here's Tegan Allen. Kaya Simon. Ryan McCallum switching it to Catley. Good looking cross too. Kaya Simon rising to meet it. Here's quite a story. Kaya Simon, actually an indigenous athlete, Aboriginal descent. Kaya Simon, number 17. She starred in a film about her and Lydia Williams called No Apologies. At rave reviews in Australia. Known for a blistering pace. She plays in the United States in the WPSL Elite with the Boston Breakers. Scored 9 goals this year for them. That's Cheney chiseling away on the near side and winning a free kick.
It's just a foul you do not want to give the United States in that position.
Caitlin Ford.
Because look at all those targets on the back post for the United States. Abby Wambach back there. Carly Lloyd hovering.
It's Cheney who delivers. Made it away from danger for now by Danielle Brogan. Morgan making herself available from the throw, and the US will settle for the corner as they keep the Matildas pinned back.
And Australia likes to go with 2 post players typically, and then the rest. Look at that, all of them man marking. Really, 2 players across the 6 zoning. A lot of space for Abby Wambach in particular. She can get clear in that 6.
But not quite the corner the US were looking for. And Cheney taking the driven approach. So go back to the goal again, the cutback from Morgan.
And then Heather O'Reilly coming in on that second tier, coming forward, just trying to drive it low. Just short little backswing, making sure she keeps it nice and low with that ball coming back to you. Made it look easier than it is. And am I going to miss the goal celebrations of Pia? Even at 8-0.
She'll give us the Pia Pogo tonight, the Pia leap on the sidelines, the air guitar she's come up with at times. The chase is on here. Devanna wins most of those chases. She's beaten Lepelbit, but Lepelbit, or rather Christy Rampone, I should say, stuck to her task with real aplomb there. And Rampone, Julie, was beaten by Devanna for pace, and Australia scored their goal at the Home Depot Centre.
And how many times in my lifetime commentating have I said Christy Rampone beaten by pace? You just don't hear it very often. And it was impressive. With the ball at her feet, about 40 yards out. Just turned on the burners.
Now ESPN2's coverage of MLS continues. Tomorrow night, Thursday night, the Philadelphia Union will take on DC United, who are in a battle for the final playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. MLS presented by Adidas, Thursday at 8 on ESPN2. Also live on the Watch ESPN app. Glenn Davis and Taylor Twellman will have the call for you from Philadelphia, and a big result earlier tonight. Sporting Kansas City going to Red Bull Arena and winning by 2-0 as the shot from Devanna sails too high.
And I think the challenge for this Australia squad tonight, we're looking at 30 minutes in. It's a much different first 30 in this game than on Sunday when they were flying all over the place. This is their third game in a week, and this is a team, as you mentioned earlier, Adrian, doesn't play a lot of games, especially because they weren't in the Olympics this summer. They hadn't qualified. So game fitness is huge, and then on top of that, you have 10 teenagers on your squad of 20 players.
Yeah.
So a lack of experience and a lack of match fitness.
Well, they were the third youngest team at the last World Cup, Australia, and they've only got even younger since that point. Here's one of their more experienced players, Claire Polkinghorne. She's found Devanna. Devanna shot! And there's the equaliser for Australia. You just can't give her an opportunity inside the penalty area because she will make you pay. Devanna has done it again.
Like I was saying, so much for the challenges, Adrian. And there she is, the speed, and what a wonderful finish. To get in behind, and then to have the presence of mind with Hope Solo coming off her line to just poke it. It's not going to be a big backswing. She's just going to get it under her, keep it low. Great finish.
Just as an impressive a finish as the one she produced in LA 4 days ago. That was a left-footed finish, but a very different sort of left-footed finish as the US looked to respond. And a barge in the back by Polkinghorne, but no free kick. The US wanted one. Devanna leading the back. This is Kaya Simon, who's got around the back for Australia, but Hope Solo to the rescue this time. Again, a lightning-quick counter-attack by Australia. But this time Solo had it read to perfection.
And that's a challenge the two center backs for the United States have faced often, is how high do you start that line, because they're sometimes exposing themselves in behind, especially with the pace of a Devanna and a Simon.
And here they go again. This time it's Sarah Walsh who's the target. Walsh for Australia! And on her farewell for the Matildas, it's a fairy tale story for Sarah Walsh, a goal to celebrate, and the Australians lead against the United States.
And only less than 10 minutes after the U.S. goes on the scoreboard, Australia bouncing back, getting in behind Kelly O'Hara. Another nice ball, a defensive clearance that should happen, really. Hope Solo coming off her line. And for Sarah Walsh in her last game, what a moment for her. And this is what Australia is known for. We've seen them time and time again in World Cups. especially under Tom Sermanni, his ability, similar to the U.S. squad, and what has been so endearing about them, to come back and to keep fighting.
The way the Australia bench celebrated that goal from Sarah Walsh just told you what she has meant to this team over the years.
And it's the beauty of soccer. 30 minutes where they look like they're on their heels, Australia. The U.S. is dominating, having their way. And then in the span of a few minutes, the game just flips.
Well, it's been a long, long time since the United States has lost on home soil. 2004 to Denmark, 60 games ago. Essentially, similar situation to the one they faced on Sunday. A goal down for Australia. About 10 minutes to go in the first half. Almost a catastrophe at the back again for the US. Rachel Bueller just about got out of jail. And we're told Sarah Walsh actually picked up a yellow card in the act of celebrating that goal. There's Kelly O'Hara, nicely flighted. Just beyond Abby Wambach's range. Carly Lloyd, will she unleash one? Oh, the door was quickly closed. Here is Walsh. 38 goals now for her. Ties up for the all-time lead for the Matildas, for Cheryl Salisbury. Tegan Allen as the crowd try and pump up the US. The Australians are nothing if not tenacious. And found a way to flip this game on its head. Tom Sermanni has been to 3 World Cups. And one of the Australians, a bit of a mystery really. In fact, they've missed the last 2 Olympics because their World Cup qualifying record is excellent. They've qualified for 5 in a row. Really confident turn and spin there by Caitlin Ford, who motors on. Cheney is back to take it away. Maybe a friendly, Julie, but these are two determined teams out there.
I was just going to say, something tells me, even though this is a friendly, that the U.S., similar to what we've seen in the last 2 years, give us all heart palpitations. They don't like to do it easy.
No, they don't.
Why would they change their way in a friendly?
They are determined to send Pia Sundhage out on the right note. Australia equally determined to send Sarah Walsh away in the right manner. And the result is quite an absorbing contest. Hope you're enjoying it with us. Adrian Healy, Julie Foudy and Monica Gonzalez on the sidelines. Here's Walsh. McCallum has the angle for the pass. Stephanie Catley has worked her way forward. A bit isolated at the moment, 2 for company. Catley, who was the Australian Female Footballer of the Year, 2012.
And it just reinforces the fact of what speed can do to a game when you have it on the front line. Look how much Alex Morgan has changed the dynamic of the U.S. with her starting. And same with Elisa Davana for Australia. You just never know because they can get you back in the game so quickly.
Davana's goal is number 28 for her. Simon. Lloyd, though, hustling to get there first. And the United States spring forward with pace. One back, clever turn. 13 straight wins for the United States since that draw against Japan back in April, including all 6 their Olympic Games encounters: France, Colombia, North Korea, New Zealand, Canada and Japan.
Here's another thing you know about the U.S. team with all those wins is, and what I've so admired is they just don't panic. Look at the Brazil game at the World Cup in 2011. 122nd minute and a player down. Goal down, player down. And the equalizer by Abby.
The opening game of the Olympics, another example of that. 2-0 down to France. Came back to win 4-2. Here's Christy Rampone getting forward.
Down 3 separate times to Canada. Semi-final of the Olympics. I mean, it's just so impressive, that mentality.
Christy Rampone in your pictures only ever scored 4 times in 268 appearances for the US, but one of those goals came against Australia in a 9-1 win, which you were part of, Julie. You even scored that day. Here's Devanna. Lisa Devanna.
Not sure I believe it.
The follow-up shots. US under pressure again. The pressure relieved by that foul from Tegan Allen. Lovely flick from Alex Morgan. She knew where Abby Wambach was, and she sprints on to receive the return. Can't quite get there. Brianna Davey is belying her 17 years of age.
She has been impressive. Only her 3rd international appearance in that game on Sunday in LA. She made some big saves for Australia to keep them close.
Breaks the way of Sarah Walsh. One back hungrily by Rachel Bueller. Lloyd, and it goes to Tobin Heath. And turn to Kelly O'Hara. Alex Morgan, and they've worked this well. Kelly O'Hara back to Morgan. On the left foot, Alex Morgan continues an astonishing 2012. Morgan equals more goals for Alex. It's number 23 of the season. The United States back on level terms.
And it all starts with Tobin Heath with the nutmeg pass. And then Kelly O'Hara continuing her run. And what a nice little cut back to Alex Morgan. And soft touches, brings it down, takes a second one just to clean it up. And you see the goal-scoring presence she has inside the box. What a great finish, because not much angle, not much space there. But give credit to Kelly O'Hara for finding her in that little seam. Kelly O'Hara, no stranger to offensive penalty boxes either. She was a star forward at Stanford, of course.
What a finish by Morgan. She found it unerringly, didn't she? There was such a small window to aim for at that far post. And what a game we've had here. 2-2, and with the promise of more goals in the air before the night is done.
And what a boost to your mentality there for the U.S. Reeling a little bit from those 2 fast goals from Australia to put them behind, to go in at halftime, breathing a sigh of relief and able to regroup and come out strong in the second half, which you know they will be.
O'Hara. It's all the shades of that Canada game and that never to be forgotten Olympic semi-final, isn't it? Teams trading blows.
I didn't think you could find another women's game as exciting as Brazil, the quarterfinal of the World Cup, and then Just a year later it happens. What a classic that was instantly.
And the 2 latest goals scored in any FIFA competition in those 2 games. Abby Wambach and Alex Morgan. Just 1 minute of stoppage time is going to be added on. O'Reilly's cross. Brianna Davey had to be sure, and she was. He plays for the Melbourne Victory at home. The Australian players will be heading back tomorrow to their pre-season. The W League season begins in October. Hope you can stay with us at half-time, because we'll send it back to our studios. Max Bredos and Tony DeChico standing by. Interesting to hear what Tony has to say on the future of women's soccer. Devana tries to get the cross in. Also have some Champions League action, some MLS highlights for you to enjoy at halftime, so stick around for that. Plenty to look forward to in the second half. The game that has swung one way then the other. Lisa Devana very much in the thick of the action. That'll do it. Time for us all to get our breath back. Great first half, Julie.
A great first half. And for Australia, the mentality for them will be, how can we sustain it in the second half? Unlike what happened on Sunday, where the U.S. just came out firing and rolled over them.
Goals to savour for supporters of both teams. The United States getting their noses in front, courtesy of the own goal, we think, from Servette Uzunla. And then Sarah Walsh, the big goal for her and a big goal for Australia. 2-2 at halftime. Tony DeChico and Max Bredos after the break.
As part of the fans' tribute tour, Heather O'Reilly with the strike to open the scoring. The first of 4 goals. Weren't sure if it's an own goal, but I've been told by Tony DeChico we're giving Heather O'Reilly the credit for that goal. Welcome into our halftime studios with former U.S. national team coach and U.S. Hall of Famer Tony DeChico. I'm Max Bredos, and the United States and Australia tied at 2 here in the farewell tour game for Pia Sundhage. The U.S. took the lead. They finished the scoring, but what stood out on their performance in those first 45?
Well, the U.S. defense struggled with the pace of the Australian forwards, Devana, Simon, and Walsh, and at least one of those goals was clearly getting in behind. O'Hara clears it, and Walsh is all over it. Hope Solo gets a piece of this, but can't keep it out of the net.
Australia goals within a couple of minutes to take the lead, as they did in the first matchup they played a few days ago, but the U.S. coming back. This is a game to celebrate Pia Sundhage when she took over the U.S. team in 2007 after that World Cup. This is, she's done very well. 2 gold medals, a whisker away from winning the World Cup. What has made her such a success in those 5 years?
Well, her passion, number one. I mean, she has passion for the game of soccer, a love for the game of soccer. She's so positive, and she's instilled all of that into her team. So she has other tremendous skills, such as player and team management. She's the best I've seen at that.
And clearly the players love her. Always to her defense during her tenure. Sunil Gulati in U.S. Soccer in search of a replacement. What will U.S. Soccer be looking for in their next coach?
Well, number one, the team has got to evolve. This is a great team, wonderful leadership on this team, but it's still got to evolve. I think it's got to get better defensively, and there might be some transition with older players. And really, they've got to hire somebody that can win the next World Cup. in 2015.
That will be in Canada. It'll be a bit of a dry spell with regards to big competition for the U.S. women with the World Cup and the Olympics in their rearview mirror. But now they look towards building a league. What have you been hearing about a professional league in the United States in the future?
Well, there was an article in the New York Times. Sunil Gulati is spearheading, along with U.S. Soccer, this effort. They realize how important a professional league is. They've talked to the Canadian Federation. They've talked to a bunch of prior WPS owners, some other interested investors. I think they would like to launch in 2013 if it's viable. The key is they've got to have a sustainable business model.
And also huge in their favor is the fact that U.S. Soccer will be 100% behind them, which could help speed up the process.
I think that's really, really important. I applaud Sunil Gulati and U.S. Soccer for taking that step.
Such great talent. They need a place to play here in the U.S. Hopefully they will have one as soon as 2013. Busy day.
Welcome back. Look at downtown Denver, which is the latest stop for the United States women's national team on their victory tour. No victory earned here, though, against stern resistance from Australia in the first 45 minutes. Some scintillating soccer. We saw 2 goals apiece. Adrian Healy with Julie Foudy alongside her. Julie's picked out a key player the first half.
And this was the second goal for Australia. If the U.S. can't put pressure on the ball, which Amy Lepelbet is unable to do, then Kelly O'Hara, the left back for the U.S., has to get back. And it's only a question of a couple yards, but she's got to make an earlier recovery so she's in a better position to clear that. And those are the little things. Kelly O'Hara is new to that outside back position. We mentioned earlier she was a forward for Stanford. Those are the little things the United States will have to clean up in these next few years going forward to the World Cup.
There have been a raft of substitutions at halftime. And all of them, as we can make out so far, at least by the United States, contending that Heather Mitts has come on to replace Amy Lepelbet. Quick look at the first half statistics while we go through that. 8 shots to 3 overall for the US.
Yeah, the Australians in the first 30 minutes look flat, and then all of a sudden, in the 30th minute, they come alive.
Heather Mitts for Lepelbet, Shannon Box for Lauren Cheney, Becky Sauerbrand for Kelly O'Hara, and Megan Rapinoe for Heather O'Reilly. 4 switches by Pia Sundhage at the half-time interval. And we saw Jill Loyden really going through her warm-up paces as well, so expect her at some time soon to replace Hope Solo, who's still out there for now. The last half-time team talk given by Pia Sundhage. I wonder what messages were contained within that talk, because as you said, Julie, they really were on top for the first half an hour, but how quickly it was taken away from them, that momentum.
But it's the thing that we've come to love about this team, is the U.S. team, they just don't give up, regardless of the minute, regardless of the magnitude.
Trying to win their 14th consecutive game. And you know, the U.S. haven't won 14 consecutive games since the Tony DeCicco era. You heard from him at halftime. 1996, 1997, the last time that they strung 14 consecutive victories together. For more on that, so let's go down to the third member of our broadcast crew, Monica Gonzalez.
Well, Adrian, last halftime talk was a serious one. She said that defensively the breakdowns were not on the back line. It was the midfield that didn't put enough pressure on the pass, and then offensively, she said Alex and Abby need more support up top. She wants the wide players to take a positive attacking first touch. Adrian, back to you.
Thanks, Monica. The US is certainly doing that. Right from the off, Abby Wambach. The nod back across the face of goal.
And especially when you have this space, as we've said, with the 4-3-3 Australia plays, you want players attacking into that space, and you're seeing the looks that the outside midfielders in that first half, and Heather O'Reilly and Tobin Heath, were getting, going at players one-on-one, getting into the box.
Again, just confirmation of those US subs. And across the top of your screen as Lisa Davana has an issue. And it genuinely takes something pretty serious to knock Lisa Davana out of her stride. This was the collision with Shannon Box.
She actually kicks Shannon Boxen. Took the worst end of it, I think.
The Matildas of Australia will not want to lose the services of Devanna. Alex Morgan, who hauled the US level. Exquisite finish just before the break. Goal number 33 for her already. And only her 51st game.
And how fun is it going to be to watch her over the years? 23 years old. And already so much poise in front of goal.
Look at the US, the width down the left. Well, most of the good things happened for them in the first half. It's Becky Sauerbrunn who's out there with Tobin Heath now.
Fans are used to seeing Becky Sauerbrunn more in that central back position. She's been pushed out to the wide outside back position. Played some there with her professional club team as well, but usually you see her tucked in a little bit more.
Shannon Box scored from the penalty spot in the second half. As a substitute on Sunday against Australia, Devanna is back in action and causing problems again. Here's to Devanna, driving on. Tough angle, to cut back. And in the end, they'll win the corner for Australia, but no more.
The speed of Devanna, gosh, I just keep shaking my head when you see her go. And if you're wondering what that is on her back, as I did all of Sunday, I'm sorry it took me until the second half to tell you that. It's a GPS monitor. They are not the Hunchbacks of Notre Dame.
There's Uzenla with the corner. Officially contended that the first US goal was credited to Heather O'Reilly, not an own goal from Uzenla, as we thought it might be.
That's good.
Here she is again. Over elaborate this time. Heather Mitz. Megan Rapinoe. A combination on the right-hand side in this half for the US.
And how about that luxury for the next coach? The depth of this team. And that's not even including some of the younger players we're going to see brought into this team in the next year. You've got the under-20 women's national team for the U.S. that just won their under-20 Women's World Cup. Some great players on that team. Kristen Press, who's over in Sweden playing, who plays on the under-23s, was an alternate for the Olympic team. Wonderful finisher.
So is this player, Carly Lloyd, and almost pulling out one of her finest. She can deliver such a bomb from distance. 13 goals in this calendar year.
And when teams give Carly Lloyd that kind of space, you know she's going to wind up and rip it. And she can. We saw the Olympic goal in the final match to win the gold medal for the United States. She did the same thing 4 years prior in Beijing, again in the final match. An extra time against Brazil to win the gold medal again for the United States.
Well, 2012 has been the most productive year yet for Carly Lloyd with those 13 goals. She's already in the top 10 all time for the US women's national team in terms of goal scoring. Now then, this Saturday, Mexican football will return to ESPN Deportes, one of the biggest rivalries in the league. Mexico City-based teams Cruz Azul and Club America going head-to-head in a classic matchup on Saturday, 5:55 on ESPN Deportes. Pia Sundhage in her final game, wondering if her team are going to send her out with a victory here. Carly Lloyd with a chance to get them in front. Great recovery. It's from Sarah Walsh as well. A real deflected effort as the goalkeeper stranded. It's gone in. And for the second time tonight, A big deflection leaves Australia in despair, but the United States in delight. From 2-1 down, they lead 3-2, and smiles for Sundhaga.
And for those young players at home who are watching, this is why your coach is always saying, just shoot the ball. You never know unless you shoot. And this is why, just driving it low, Alex Morgan on her favored left foot. And similar to the Heather O'Reilly goal in the first half, taking that deflection when you have a crowded box, that is bound to happen. So difficult for a goalkeeper because they're going one way.
To make matters worse, the deflection was off the foot of Abby Wambach. Not sure how much she knew about it, but the loop of the ball and the spin sent it beyond the despairing Brianna Davey. It will be Wambach's goal. So even when Morgan and Wambach don't quite get it right, they still manage to combine to score a goal. And both got their names on the score sheet tonight. And once again, adversity seems to count for nothing for this United States team. Picked themselves up from 2-1 down. Carly Lloyd onto Megan Rapinoe, who's driving into space. Tegan Allen able to force her wide. Tobin Heath with some trickery. Wambach. Oh, it looks so promising for the US. Heather Mitts. Blood in the water now on Abby Wambach with a thumping header. Mitts found her with the perfect cross. She feasts upon these.
And this is the Megan Rapinoe run. I love that because look at all the defense collapses on her and then she just kicks it wide. It's like driving the lane in basketball. Everyone collapses, you pitch it out, and a great look at two future stars for the United States. And then the Abby Wambach look where she doesn't miss many of those, but Australia did well to at least get a body on her, which is so difficult to do with a player as physical and strong as Abby is.
A thankless task, isn't it, for Servette Uzunla. Australia are going to make their first switch. Tom Sermanni seeing a lead disappear. And is going to give Ashley Brown a run out now. And this is our Gatorade Recover substitution of the night. Ashley Brown replacing Sarah Walsh. It's the end of the road for an Australian legend, this, who receives all the plaudits from her teammates.
And what a career she has had, given the injury she sustained. The fact that she's not even able to pass the ball by opening up her hips because her knees are so shot. She spent a year here playing professionally in the United States and watching her battle through those over the years and become Australia's co-leading scorer of all time.
Perfect way to bring the curtain down, wasn't it, for one of the legends of the game down under, Sarah Walsh. And a chance for Ashley Brown to get a run out, another 17-year-old.
It's been so impressive what Tom Sermanni has done with the youth movement in Australia. From the early days in Australia, couldn't even qualify, couldn't win a game. had never won a World Cup game until 2007. And then he takes that team to the 2007 quarterfinals. Same thing in 2011. And always with an incredibly young group.
There's Carly Lloyd. Well, it's going to be one of the challenges. We've talked about it already tonight, Julie, for the next coach of the United States national team. And I guess every coach faces this challenge, how to integrate the different generations, keep the older and experienced players around while starting to bring the younger players through. Tom Sermanni's managed to do it so well with Australia, but for the US, it's a big, big job, isn't it?
It is. I think it's going to be the biggest challenge because the recent news that you have players like Christy Rampone saying she's not going to retire. She's 37. She's going to stay on for at least another year. Shannon Box is not going to retire, 35. And those are players you love to keep around. But you also have to balance that with the right mix of young players.
Carly Lloyd, of course, will still be a factor. 2015, it's an Olympics that has brought the best out of Lloyd. Canada, the host nation for the next Women's World Cup in 2015. It's a World Cup that will expand, remember, to 24 nations.
It would take a little bit of the stress out for the United States in qualifying. Remember that people will remember they were the last to qualify for the 2011 World Cup, the U.S. team having to beat Italy in a playoff series.
It's Morgan turning the corner delightfully on Brogan. Can Morgan get the cross in? Uzunla made sure she didn't. Morgan, second time of asking. And swept away by McCallum. And the qualifying process will also be easier for Australia. Tom Sermanni was telling us that Asia are going to get 5 places at the next World Cup. As Colette McCallum, one of his stalwarts, makes way for another 17-year-old, Emily Van Egmond. Van Egmond, a famous footballing name in Australia. Her father is Gary Van Egmond. He's the coach of the Newcastle Jets in the Australian A-League, a former Socceroo. Played in the 1988 Olympics.
And Tom Sermanni has said Van Egmond is one of his future stars, incredibly talented.
US looking for the knockout punch here. Having reached the hour mark.
And there's the one all fans will be watching right there in Abby Wambach. Shannon Box now into the game in that second half, another target.
Rapinoe overcooked it. But Abby Wambach, the goals keep flowing for her, don't they?
I never thought anyone would have a chance, as Amy Rodriguez is about to step into the game, I never thought anyone would have a chance of catching Mia's 158 goals, which all-time world record holder with goals. And Abby is 13 away from doing that.
Actually 12 now, Julie.
12, you're right.
With a goal here tonight.
With tonight.
She's up to 146. Confirmed the substitute again, Amy Rodriguez for Tobin Heath. It's been used mainly off the bench this year. Pia Sundhage, only 4 starts for her. They're back to goal. Utilising the services of Heather Metz, who delivers a fine-looking cross. Morgan is there to meet it. She's done it again. More goals for Morgan. And the US extend their lead.
Alex Morgan has almost single-handedly said, Pia, I am sending you home with a win tonight. And here's another one. We haven't even talked about her ability in the air. And it has flashbacks of the semifinal match against Canada, the 123rd minute of that game, the header that was very similar to that to put the United States into the Olympic gold medal match.
Eerily similar, Julia. I'd say the cross from the right at Old Trafford. It was Heather O'Reilly who delivered it, wasn't it? This time Heather Mitts.
And every time I watch Alex Morgan play, I just see something else that comes in her game. A quality that I hadn't noticed before, or is being more polished every time. And again, at 23 years old.
Good to see Heather Mitts play a part in that goal as well. She's been a loyal servant over the years. Morgan on a hat-trick now. Oh, denied by the inside of the post. Now displaying her talents in the air and then on the ground in quick succession.
Talk about having your way. Just shoot, because it's going to go in if you're Alex Morgan.
Well, she must be a frightening sight for any opposing defense. How good could she become is the question. Devanna. The Australians known for their resilience, Julie, but this may be beyond their powers of recovery. Still plenty of time. 4-2 in Denver. The United States leading on their victory tour. Here's Van Egmond. Rapinoe. Beaten to it by Catley. Devanna. Caitlin Ford. Tegan Allen. Devanna swarmed upon the edge of the US area. This time no trickery could get her nowhere. They've won this back and Devanna can go to work again. That should have been a straightforward pass, really, for Polkinghorne.
And here's the Morgan play earlier that hit the post, and Megan Rapinoe playing a ball in, tough because it's up at her chest. She brings it down, and if Australia's not going to step on her, she thinks, okay, I'll wind one away. And if you have a player of that quality as a defender, you just have to put pressure on that ball.
Rapinoe trying to break up Australian advances down their left-hand side. Ali Lloyd joining those efforts, but Polkinghorne. Back for Brogan.
And going back to the challenges we talked about in the first half for Australia, and this is where they really come into play. The fatigue factor, because they don't have that same match preparation. They don't have the same depth. You've got 10 teenagers on the squad.
Here's Morgan again. Options either side. Amy Rodriguez is one of them. Morgan didn't quite get it back. Midway point of the second half. The home of the Colorado Rapids. Talking of MLS, coverage will continue tomorrow night. I'll tell you about that in a moment. Great shot from Rapinoe. Tomorrow night we'll bring you Philadelphia against DC United in the battle for the final playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. Glenn Davis and Taylor Trammell have the call, and that's presented by Adidas. Thursday, 8 o'clock on ESPN2. Philadelphia Union and DC United. As Megan Rapinoe is greeted this near corner. Glass is a beauty, and so's the header. It's Shannon Box. Once again as a substitute, she scored against Australia. And this one surely seals the deal again.
What a wonderful ball crossed by Rapinoe, because it comes with pace. So Davies never going to come for that. And then Shannon Box just wide open, not even a body on her on that back post. Clinic form, back where it came from. Davies trying to slide across for Australia, their goalkeeper. And another smile for Pia.
Not quite the jump or the pogo from Pia, but she's got what she wanted now, surely. A win to see her on her way. Pia Sundhage will be sailing off into the sunset with her legacy secure. And on the back of a 14-game win streak, it looks like, for the US. The record, incidentally, all-time is 18 wins in a row for the United States. That was all the way back in the very early 90s, July 90 through to May 91, and that was a sequence that, by the way, coincided with one Julie Foudy's emergence as a regular starter. Sure, it was no coincidence, Jules.
Of course not. Can't remember back that far, actually.
Here's Carly Lloyd. Just got away from A-Rod. It's been nearly all one-way traffic in this second half. The US have really taken the game by the scruff of the neck. And ways to open up the cracks and the seams in this Australian defence. Megan Rapinoe. Minutes to go, the victory seemingly secure. Morgan on the turn, can she complete a hat-trick? Not this time. No problems for Brianna Davey. A rueful smile from Morgan. She did the first part so well. Not like this, you're celebrating one coach departing, Julie, but thoughts always turning to the future and what next for the US. I want to get your thoughts on that as this Australia attack unfolds. Van Egmond. First of all, the coaching search, Julie. They've said they're going to take between 30 and 45 days. There's a select band of 5 men and women who are going to lead that search. What do you think about the process and the qualities that they're going to be looking for?
Well, you have Mia Hamm and Daniel Slayton, who are the 2 players. Sunil Gulati, of course, Dan Flynn, Tom King, the 3 U.S. soccer representatives. And I spoke with actually with Sunil Gulati. And the time frame is they want it by Halloween, but also understand that they want to get the right person. And I think seeing how Pia took a team in 2007 that, as we talked about, was a bit in shambles and turned it around in these 5 years, the importance of getting it right is critical. And you have a lot of veterans on this team, and you're going to have to bring some youth in, as we've talked about in this phase, and get the right mix. I think that's going to be the biggest challenge.
And Rodriguez for Morgan. US Soccer President Sunil Gulati said there's been, in his words, double-digit numbers of inquiries about the forthcoming vacancy, including many from international destinations. Alex Morgan isn't going to get a hat-trick because she's going to receive quite an ovation as she departs the scene here to make way for Sydney Leroux. Morgan is our hero, they say.
And a 23-year-old going out, and a 22-year-old in Sydney Leroux, the youngest player on the Olympic team coming in. Another promising young star for the U.S.
Alex Morgan, who admitted she couldn't bear the thought of Pia Sundhage leaving, really hadn't come to terms with it. Says goodbye for the last time on the field. Kennedy also on for Claire Polkinghorne in Australia. Taking a good look at Sydney Leroux, whose 9 goals for the United States have all come off the bench. Leroux. Rodriguez. US with 5 goals here are just one short of a century. 100 goals in 2012. One more would bring up that number. They haven't scored 100 goals in a calendar year since 2004.
You can maybe see on the left side of your screen Shannon Box, this player right here, left unmarked. Australia this time around thinking otherwise.
Header comes in, the second header lands on the roof of the net.
It's just so dangerous on those set pieces, those corner kicks. So hard to defend when they have that type of size and so many different threats. It's not like you can just contain 1 or 2 of them.
Posed constant problems for the Australian defence in this second half. They just haven't been able to get the grips with it. There's a change to take place for the Matildas. Michelle Heyman is going to come on. Kaya Simon. In terms of potential coaching candidates, Julie, there's no official shortlist, but this is a shortlist of sorts that we've come up with.
We've got the international ones on the left side. Mani Sasaki, who coaches the Japanese team. Bruno Bini, the French national team coach. Sunil Gulati was talking about all the international interest they've been getting. Of course they have. What a plum job it is. But you also have ones that are already in the program. Sue Swanson, who does the under-20 team. Randy Waldrum does the under-23s. Jillian Ellis, who's been in charge next to April Heinrichs with youth development, who has actually said recently that it's just not the right timing for her right now. Tony DeCicco, of course, is in that mix, having been a prior incredibly successful coach. And then the outliers, Erica Walsh, who's been an assistant coach with the program. Staying on women, maybe even Marsha McDermott, even though she hasn't been coaching.
Well, we all had a chance to talk to some of the United States players yesterday about what they're looking for in the next coach. Monica, I know you talked to quite a few.
I did. I got to ask a few of them what qualities they'd like to see in the next coach, and the common denominator was they said that the new coach needs to earn their respect right away, because if there's not a little bit of fear, the new coach might just get walked all over. One player even said they want to see a coach that will crack the whip on us when we need it. Adrian, back to you.
Interesting indeed. The fear factor, Julie. What do you make of that?
Well, I think, you know, given Pia's 5 years, and it's hard that she's been in 3 finals, 2 of them she has won, to even talk about some criticism. But the one thing you've heard over the years is that she didn't crack down hard enough on disciplinary issues, and yet it worked for her. You know, she brought Hope Solo back into the squad after the 2007 incident, and she figured out a way to make it work. But you're hearing over and over again, this next coach, we want someone that is going to have a strong enough personality. We've got a lot, they even admitted, the players, we've got a lot of strong personalities on this team.
And if the man at the bottom of your picture there, Tom Sermanni, might be the answer to those particular problems, the way he's dealt with a player like Lisa De Vanna, has been really quite something for Australia. Solo, of course, another huge name.
Well, Lisa De Vanna has had her issues, and Tom Sermanni has said, you know, I've had to go hard with her. I've had to bench her. I've had to keep her at home, and yet she can be such a productive player for the team. Such a hard balance.
Yeah. Well, very nearly didn't take her to the last World Cup in Germany. Sent her home from a training camp, famously, just a month before the tournament for breaking team rules.
But I think what must be most exciting for this next coach is look at the depth. Look at all the talent. You have all this experience and great leadership in the veteran players, and then you have a tremendous pool to pull from that aren't even out here.
Rapinoe will give this a go from distance. Just dragging Mammoth wide. This Saturday, ESPN Deportes is one of the biggest rivalries in Mexican football. 2 Mexico City-based teams, Cruz Azul and Club America, going at it. And Saturday, 5:55 on ESPN Deportes. Now, you and I saw the United States women's under-20 side just a couple of weeks ago, Julie, win their version of the World Cup, and some players on that U20 team really caught our eye. Julie Johnston and Morgan Bryan, Crystal Dunn, Kealia Ohai, to name just a few.
Maya Hayes is another possibility on that group. And then you have the under-17s who start their World Cup on Saturday. Their under-17 Women's World Cup. And that would be the first time with the U.S. women winning the Olympics, the under-20 women winning the World Cup, and if the under-17 women win their World Cup at all, the country has pulled off those 3 in one calendar year like that.
U17's World Cup beginning in Azerbaijan. They're certainly a little adventurous for some of their venues nowadays, aren't they, for tournaments? The Wombatters won a free kick here for the US inside the final 10 minutes. And one more goal will bring up 100 for the year, a year that really started with an avalanche of goals in those Olympic qualifiers against the Dominican Republic and Guatemala. Here's the free kick, and there is number 100! And it's Sydney Leroux who's grabbed it. Another goal off the bench for Sydney Leroux. Talking of the United States under-20 prospects, how well she did at that level of the game.
Under-20 legend with that group, and what a wonderful ball again by Rapinoe. Bending it in, Sydney Leroux getting low. Instead of volleying it, decides I'm just going to keep it going with my head. Following it through, and so difficult in that position sometimes to actually keep it down. I love the excitement when Sydney Leroux scores. Takes me back to the Olympics, the joy of that.
Well, it seems a long time ago now that the US were trailing 2-1 in this game. Latter stages of the first half, but it's And quite an impressive display in the second half. They simply swept aside the Australian resistance.
And you're seeing in these final minutes the challenge of 3 games in 1 week for Australia.
Leroux's through again. No joy this time. Interesting to mention that, Julie, that the physical challenge for Australia. Haven't played many games as a national team. Most of the players actually in pre-season mode because their W League season doesn't start until October. Devanna, she plays in Sweden. So 14 straight wins it's going to be for the US. What a way for Pia Sundhage to ride off into the sunset. First time in a decade and a half.
I asked Pia yesterday, when do you go to Sweden? Thinking it was like in a few weeks' time at least. She's like, tomorrow. I was like, what? It's like, your bags are packed? To which she busted out, my bags are packed.
There had to be a song in there somewhere. Not leaving on a jet plane, we are in Denver after all. Well, it's careless at the back for Australia, and Abby Wambach has gone down. It was a self-inflicted wound, really, for Australia, looking a bit dishevelled at the back. They've been under such relentless attack. Wambach has won a free kick. So now Carly Lloyd and Megan Rapinoe quite fancying getting in on the scoring act. Is it Carly Lloyd time in Denver? Right-footed runner, but right into the wall. Well, we've got a break in the action. Have a look at our All-State good hand save of the game, and it came from Brianna Davey.
17-year-old for Australia, and only her 3rd international appearance, coming out off her line well and holds on to that one.
Quite an experience for her these last couple of games. So Catherine Gill comes on. There's Tegan Allen.
Good to see Kate Gill back because she's just recovering from an ACL injury, actually. May was her first game back. Sam Kerr, another one who played her first game on Sunday. Tom Sermanni said they've had 6 ACLs in the last year.
They went into the last World Cup without their main 2 strikers in Sarah Walsh and Kate Gill, and nearly without Lisa Devanna too after that training camp bust up. And still managed to make the quarterfinals.
And even though you look at that scoreline, 6-2, it's not what Australia wanted. What a productive trip to get these minutes in front of these great crowds. Especially when you have 10 teenagers, those experiences are so valuable.
Just the 3rd trip to Colorado for the US national team. They scored 6 here once before. With Julie Foudy on board. That was at Mile High Stadium against Brazil. September of 1999.
There was no Dick's Sporting Goods back in the...
It's the old Mile High Stadium as well.
Right.
States players already made a presentation to Pia Sundhage after the LA game with a special Taylor guitar.
You know what I loved about that as well is they signed it all around the ice outside with a gold Sharpie. And Abby said, I just wanted her, when she's playing in front of her Swedish team, I wanted them to see the gold signatures. A little reminder to Sweden. We may have our coach, but...
Here's Devanna. Seems to eat up the space in front of her, doesn't she, Lisa Devanna? His legs just motoring at an electric pace. Sundhage will officially take over her duties on December the 1st for Sweden. Next up for the United States will be 2 games against Germany, the number 2 ranked team in the world. Very interesting to see Germany come to Chicago and to East Hartford. Those games on October the 20th and the 23rd. There's no permanent coaching appointment in place for those games. One of the assistant coaches will be in charge. That's what we've been told. Coming up next on Sports Centre, Stuart Scott and Linda Cohen are standing by. Miguel Cabrera continues his triple crown chase. Eli Manning's bad news. And Tiger and Rory McIlroy prepare for the PGA Tour Championship. That's next on Sports Centre. The waning seconds of this one from Denver. And the victory tour looks like producing a 3rd victory for the US. We are told there will be more games added as well. There will be a total of 10 games. But only those 2 against Germany have yet been announced. There'll be more between Thanksgiving and Christmas. 2 minutes. Megan Rapinoe, soft kilter with Heather Mitts.
You just wonder what's going through Pia's mind. What a 5 years. She must have incredible pride at what she's created, what she's built in these 5 years, and what she's leaving behind. She's leaving a program that is running on full throttle right now. It's doing well. The players are enjoying themselves. They're having fun. Look at the support in the stands. And then she has a challenge of taking her home country to the Euros at home next summer.
First game in charge was a 4-0 win against Canada. One played in China in January of 2008. It looks like she's leaving with another 4-goal victory. 6-2 the margin for Pia Sundhage this time. A lot of wins in between too. And not too many defeats. A couple to Sweden. Couple to Japan. Abby one back. An inch ever closer to Mia Hamm's all-time scoring record. More goal here tonight and more opportunities to come later in the fall. 12 behind her now. The last few seconds of the Pia Sundhage era. An era defined by 2 gold medals at Olympic Games and an era which has now come to a close. She goes out But she came in a winner.
Always with the big smile on her face as well. That's what I've so enjoyed over the years.
Win number 91 for Pia Sundhage is her last, and she's standing by with Monica Gonzalez.
Pia, what I remember most playing for you for the Boston Breakers was how often you use the word joy in your pregame talks. How much have you enjoyed these past 5 years?
The best years ever, and with good players, good team, and you know, happy players. They have a tendency to do good, well, make some good choices out there. And today, 6 fantastic goals, and it's 5 fantastic years.
We've been talking a lot about everything that you've done for U.S. Soccer and for this team. What has coaching this team done for you as a coach?
I think I'm a better coach. Been here for 5 years, coaching on the highest level, 3 finals, and you know, make all kinds of decisions with the team. So I'm very grateful, and I'm very happy for the team. It is the best team in the world.
Thank you so much, Pia. Best of luck to you in the future. Adrian?
Thank you, Monica, very much indeed, as Pia Sundhage starts her farewell march around this stadium with another victory to savour for her. We'll be back to wrap up this 6-2 win against Australia in just a few moments. Capacity crowd here at Dick's Sporting Goods Park, and hardly anyone has left. They've all stayed to give thanks to Coach Pia Sundhage, and look what it means to her. She's gathered with her team in the centre of the pitch, watching a collage of all her finest moments at the helm of the US women's national team. Tears of joy for Pia Sundhage. She's written her name into the history books. More exciting soccer coming your way tomorrow from MLS at 8 p.m. Philly against DC United on ESPN2. Coming up next, it's Sports Center. Hope you enjoyed our coverage. For Julie Fowley and Monica Gonzalez, I'm Adrian Healy. That's all from us.